Hey everybody, welcome back to Ask An Alaskan. I'm Rob from Curmudgeon.
And I am Rodney from Pure Alaska.
We hope you all are doing great tonight. And we have a special guest tonight. Some of you probably I'm getting feedback from somebody. Anyways, we have a special guest tonight. Some of you guys probably know him from Buffalo Zero. It is Chip.
Yeah. Yep. Edward's my proper name, but Chip's the nickname. But I go by at least that's what people call me in my face.
It's a little hard to hear.
That should be better now. I found what the issue was with the echo.
Okay.
So Chip, how are you?
I'm all right. I had myself a long day. We went hunting yesterday, did pretty good, and then finished up things today. And I have a grandson over in Selawik right now. He followed the basketball team there, and my wife is picking him up, and they should be back this evening sometime. So she's not going to join us today, but yeah, she's just busy. She's kind of does chaperoning and stuff, at the school. So she kind of knew ahead of time she might not be available today. That's why she didn't.
Yeah, didn't commit. That's understandable. So why don't you tell our audience a little bit about yourself, who you are, where you are, and what you do?
Well, I'm Edward Hailstone. My friends call me Chip. I came here from Kalispell, Montana, probably in 1988, like in October, November, right in their area. I went back and packed my things and came back up this way. But first, I started out in Southeast Alaska. I was down there when the Exxon Valdez went off, stuff like that. Got some work, and my mom and my younger brother had been living in Kotzebue. So I went up to visit them. And in Montana, I'd been making $3.35 an hour as a ranch and farmhand with various seasonal jobs, spot jobs, things like that, shearing Christmas trees, picking cherries, apples, pears, just anything that there was to do, open gates, milk cows, everything you could possibly think to do with a freaking cow. I eat beef because I hate cows. Yeah. But it set me up for the rest of my life. It got me a work ethic and get up early and all that such. So what could I say? Couldn't complain, put money in my pocket. When I was 16, my mom came up this way and my dad went to Missouri. So I wanted to finish high school in the same place. So I stuck it out down there and off I went. And I came up here to visit my mom and my brother. And I stopped in Southeast Alaska for quite a while. And then I flew up here. And it's kind of a strange thing happened was that my mom had bought me a ticket knowing I was in Alaska, but she didn't know where I was. So she made the ticket from Anchorage. But I decided to refund it. And I had my own round trip ticket already. And so basically what I did is I went to the airport. My brother was working at the airport as a UPS man. And the guy walked up and says, "Hey, well, you want a job at Mark Air? You want to work unloading aircraft 6 nights a week?" And he said, "No," because he was a senior in high school in Kotzebue. And I said, "Well, what's it pay?" And the guy told me $25 an hour if you work out. I was like, "Oh man, it's 1 o'clock now. Can I work till 5?" I make it $3.35 an hour in Montana. On a really good day, I make $5 an hour. When you buck hay bales, it was 10 cents a time you touched it. So I'd buck 200 bales, and you get $20 for putting them on the cart, and then another $20 for putting them in the hay barn. And that was work, especially green bales. Being 100 pounds and all. But it gave me a good back. I was real healthy back in those days. But I just $25 an hour. I just couldn't refuse. So I didn't go back. I actually called the lady. I was like in an assisted living kind of situation. A friend of mine's mom had crippling arthritis, and she could do really basic things around the house. So in exchange for rent in one of the rooms there, I used to just take care of the household chores and stuff. Well, I called her up and said, "You can have my car if you just send me my things." So all that stuff went in like 4 boxes. Probably cost her $20 to mail it all. And I sent her the title. So never went back.
Go.
Yeah, well, I did go back. Went back in 2011 and let Agnes meet my dad, Daniel. He was down there before he passed away. So it was good for her to go meet him. But that was what the setup was to come up here. When I was a kid, we hunted around. I went to my grandparents in Oregon. I've lived in California. I lived in Oregon, lived in Idaho for a short time. My mom was on the registry, and she would move around to different places after my parents got divorced when I was about 8 years old. And she just went on being a nurse, and that's what brought her to Alaska, was being a nurse. She used to work on Indian reservations. she used to work for a registry, so she'd be in different places at different times, and me and my brother, we just do whatever we wanted. But it just gave me a sense of independence, I guess, at a young age, that I should just go do my own thing. And when I moved up here, the cards are kind of stacked against me, but I still persevered and did my own thing. And when you actually work with folks, they don't care who you are or where you're from or what's going on. They see the value in the work you do. So most people up here are pretty cool to me. And you got your average.
Move your hand off your microphone a little bit.
How's that? Is that a little better?
Yeah, that's better.
Okay. Well, anyway, I was just getting on the fact that people are people. These were the kind of people I like. They have a outdoorsy kind of way about them. They listen to all kinds of music, and they had guns. So I fit right in.
Couldn't get better than that.
No. Beautiful women, smart kids, the whole shebang. So the village life gets a little monotonous. We have a house in the village that we kind of base ourselves out of. So we live here about 3 or 4 months of the year usually. And then the rest of the time we just spend out on the land. But as our kids needed to go to school, we homeschooled them. And as they got older, they wanted to do different things. And sometimes, like this year, again, like last year, the caribou are here at Norvik. Usually they would go by in migration, and we would follow them, and we'd be on the northern Seward Peninsula down the Kewalik area, because simply that's where 400,000 caribou would be, and all the fur and everything that associates with it. And we'd just make our living that way. But in the more recent years, they've stopped in the Brooks Range to our north and rutted there, which means they fight and mate, and they herd up, but they're not on the move. And then they come later, and so now they're here later, and our herd's in a decline. So not really relying on caribou as heavily as we used to. So it's the change of everything. But they cycle like rabbits. They cycle up, they cycle down, they cycle up, they cycle down. And the last time they were really cycled down was like 1975. And I think they were down to like 76,000 caribou. But then in 2000, we had 500,000 caribou. So when I hit here I started full-time caribou hunting probably in 1992, 93. That's when I was working at a gold mine in An Alaska, and the guys there were all seasonal workers, so that didn't bug me. I knew it was going to end. It only goes 120 days. And I had a big fat wad of change in my pocket, nowhere to go. And these guys are like, well, we're not going anywhere. We're gonna trap. It's time to fish. It's time to do this, time to do that. So I kind of fell in with that, and I thought it was really cool. And I basically just go get my own heat and heat the house with wood. And I got an electric bill, a couple $100 a month, and a water and sewer bill for like $50 a month. And I buy some stove oil now and then, so I can sleep in at night. I don't have to get up at 4 a.m, stoke the stove. That's pretty nice. And then my kids have all grown up. All 7 of them are up and gone. And now I've got 2 grandkids living with me. My oldest granddaughter, she lives with us because she likes the school here. And then Ting Mac's oldest boy, Sebastian, stays with us because he started school. And Ting lives in camp. She sews. She lives the traditional lifestyle. And her and her boyfriend Keith, they roam all over the place. So they kind of took up what me and Agnes were doing, and go live in tents, live in various cabins, different camps, never in the same place for a very long time. And you hit the resources, and then we kind of bring it all back here to Norvik nowadays. But it used to be that we were just on the move, and we were on the move because we could be. And it was exciting. It was an adventure all the time. And I don't know, it stuck. I liked it. There's a lot less people doing it nowadays, though, I'll say. A lot less folks moving on the land. A lot of people are, especially after COVID, things got a little strange, a little different. I don't know how to describe that. Maybe you guys seen that. I'm not sure.
Yeah, and I've talked to some native elders, and it's a lifestyle. That nomadic lifestyle, unfortunately, is a lifestyle that not many young people in the state are pursuing. Everyone's moving to the bigger populaces and stuff like that. So I've always enjoyed you guys on the show, mostly because I love that nomadic lifestyle. I mean, you talk about, you can't get any freer than that, following the game, following the food, and I always admired how you guys involved your children in that, and that was always really cool. I'm sure it was challenging on your part, but it was also, it was really cool to see how you guys instill that into the kids. That was awesome.
Oh yeah. Yep. And they've all got their versions. I was out hunting yesterday with the oldest son. So he'd knock them over, and I was working them, skinning them, gutting them. And then he picked up on the other ones, and we met at the trail right at the same time and headed home.
Like clock, it's like music, like just flows, you know.
Yeah.
So
Well, he's 37 years old, so me and him have been at this for quite a while together. So when he
right,
shows up,
yeah,
and plus I didn't used to see him in the winter too much. He used to live in Deering, which is down by the Kewalik area. It's about only 30 miles away. And then I have another son over in the Selawik area, and then I have a daughter up in Upper Kobuk, Ambler, Mary, and we like to go see them and go see what resources are around there. So we don't just visit; we go up there and go hunt with them or go
well,
get some
heck
fish.
yeah,
With them.
man.
Yeah, kind of crazy, but you know the your good friends are the ones you work with, so that's kind of how
Sure.
me and the kids have always stuck with it.
That's awesome.
Yeah, but then the drawbacks aren't too bad. Maybe the drawbacks are a lot of heavy physical work, you know, injuries, things like that. This kind of lifestyle kind of does that to people. I think, I don't know, maybe the worst thing I've ever done is probably smash all my teeth. And then, you know, I get a lot of crap on the shows because people are like, oh my God, he needs a dentist. Well, if I hadn't seen a dentist, it would have been fine. I would have just been toothless. But they'll put in a cap or a filling that only lasts a couple months. That was frustrating. And I finally nailed this dentist. 80 years old. This guy knew what he was doing. And for like the last 5 years, nothing's broken off again. So, you
There
know,
you
I'm
go,
trying to keep
man.
what was left of them. Well, yeah, I hit the ice pretty hard with my face. I completely ballooned out my lips, broke my nose, broke my orbit. Yeah, that was a lot of fun. And so
Good
getting back
grief.
to Tokyo was fun that day too with one eye.
Oh, I bet.
A broken snow machine. Yeah, I actually stopped the snow machine in front of a guy on the trail. He stopped, looked at me, said, "Get on back." So that was cool. He could see I was having problems. I was bloody as all could be. And I got to the hospital and they straightened out my nose and made an appointment for the dentist. And you know,
Wow.
another thing I'll say about this too, about the show, it used to drive me nuts. We love to eat blueberries. We drink like cranberry tea every night. We have a bowl of blueberries or a fix, just you know, a bowl because that's our thing. But the blueberries turn your teeth gray. Yeah. So don't eat blueberries before you go on national television. You're going to end up with packages of toothbrushes and toothpaste and people telling you to go to a dentist and all kinds of insults on the internet. Oh, it drives me nuts. But, you know, it doesn't drive me nuts anymore. I just quit eating blueberries. Because of work.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Other things people don't understand, you know, like frostbite. My wife gets frostbite. She gets them easy. She gets them every year. I'm not like a seasonal wife beater, you know, like just kick her ass in the springtime or anything. She literally has frostbites all over her cheeks. She got big cheeks. And you know, we wear sunglasses because of the 24-hour sun and the brightness. And wherever her glasses touch, always leaves her with a little touch of frostbite. And she's been that way since she was a kid. So that'd be one of the drawbacks that people don't understand, but mislabel on the internet. So like my wife last night was showing me, look on the internet, says, why does Agnes always have bruises on her face? And she thought it was funny, but I didn't think that was funny. Didn't think that
Yeah.
was funny at all.
Right. Yeah.
Well, they're thermal injuries, so it looks like a burn, but it also looks like a bruise, you know.
Right.
What can you say? But that, you know, that was probably the biggest drawbacks that we had. You know, other than that, it was just all, even with that, it was all genuine. You know, we didn't have anybody telling us what to say or what to do. We knew what to do. And Travis Shakespeare, who was our executive producer back in the day, was he believed in us enough that we knew what we were doing to allow us to do what we were doing without somebody telling us what to do. It was basically another thing too, is when we first started, we had a real problem with them and we decided that we weren't going to do the show because we had been sold on we would get to do what we wanted to do. And they came up with some really weird stuff that we just told them we're not going to do. Like they wanted to go hunting and we're like, well, we have 25 caribou hanging on a rack. There's no snow. I'm not burning up my snow machine at the beginning of the season so you guys can see us shoot a caribou we don't need. And it was post rut, so the only thing we would have hunted were cows anyway. And we only take those in the springtime if we need them, like in March, because then they're really fat before the baby super accelerates in growth. And the females will be really fat, while the bulls are just all skinny from being rutted out, and they don't put on any weight in the wintertime. Well, anyway, we're trying to tell them, oh, we're trying not to knock off cows. You know, we like the herd to be strong. And, oh, we got into a big row over it all. So they took the first maybe 3 of what they considered an episode, and they had to combine them into one, which was the first one you guys saw, the very first one. And after that, we had a fella here named Phil Bogue, and he was a documentary man. He come in and he said to me, we are going to film what you do, and I'll write the story after it happens, and we'll see how that goes. And it worked perfectly, absolutely perfectly. Actually, what happened was the river healed up because we were like, look, it's wide open, you know, like a giant sore. You can't go fish out on that. Well, the river froze good and solid, and you know, you're able to move around. The caribou were moving again. And so we went out and set out a net, and we pulled 380 fish in the first pull, whitefish. And they were
Wow.
like, "Oh my God, yeah!" So I was telling them, you should have listened to us to begin with. We had suggested a start date of winter, as in when the river freezes shut, but they wanted to be here earlier and catch the good fall time hunting, which someone had told them was going on that never goes on.
Yeah.
So we ended up with like kind of like the first docu series where it actually just was us being ourselves. I can't tell you what the rest of the crew or cast does because the crew didn't talk about the other cast much or what their methods were, but this was our method.
Right.
So yeah, we went with it, cussing, bitching, complaining, everything that we possibly could do. And then they edit it.
Right. Right.
Yeah. And
All
so
that bush talk, you know.
yeah, that's the way it is. And then they at first asked my wife, "Can you speak Inupiaq?" And she's like, "Sure," but she had no one to talk to because I don't have like linguistic skills in Inupiaq. I know place names, I know all the animals, I know all the traveling, the hunting words, all of the stuff like that. But I'm not gonna sit down and have a conversation over coffee with somebody in the Inupiaq language. But my wife grew up in a house where that's what they spoke. That's all they spoke. So for her, it's real easy. But she had no one to talk to. And then when her sisters came here, they were talking all so fast when they tried to translate it, they came up with just the craziest stuff. And then they had somebody that was a Canadian Inuit, which is a relative of the Inupiaqs. My wife is not an Inuit; she's an Inupiaq, and it's like going from Australia to Georgia. Yeah, it's English, but man, they don't speak it like we do. With accent and slang and all the things that make everybody different. So
Right.
that was out the window, and sometimes we really had to struggle with that, with trying to explain to them what we were doing. And some things only have an Inupiaq word or saying that we understand or that I've ever come across. I've never come across like a panichak, which is the storm shed in the front of the house. We called them a porch, or I don't know what you call it when you walk into a house, a foyer.
Foyer.
Yeah, the foyer. Yeah.
Yeah, foyer. That's it. Foyer. See, I forget these things. But anyway, so that's the point that I was getting at, was that there's just very unique things up here that only have one labeling. And we would try to explain to them, like, we don't actually harvest animals, we hunt them down. They're not in a pen. We're not popping them in the head with something. They're wild game, and they're trying to get away at every possible moment. So they had to tone down on that. And then they were like, "Well, do you harvest fish?" And we're like, "No, we catch fish." And we had to explain to them that when we hunt animals, we call it a catch. It's what we've caught. It doesn't mean I'm holding a live animal. It just means that in the endless circle of hunting and fishing, that this was my catch for the day. And it's kind of like the way that you talk about hunting or killing something without anger. So they always would say something nice like, "Oh, thank you," or give something like a seal, a little drink of water, a little small ritual, that would make somebody not into like a killer, like, "Oh, you're out for blood, you just want to kill, kill, kill." No, it's kind of more of a symbiotic deal where caribou can live without us, we can't live without them, kind of deal. And if when you
That's a
live
good way of that's a good way of putting it. I never heard it that way. Yeah.
yeah, when you live when you kill things long enough, you don't want to be killing them. It's just the catch. The thing, and to these folks, the only thing you kill are people, because you don't eat them, you don't wear their skins, they're useless when they're dead, and that's killed. Yeah, so it's along that line, and so there's a little few variational things that might not go with what people think, but it's just the local lingo on what's going on. Yeah, and it's fun.
That's why I always refer to it as harvest. When I take an animal, I harvest an animal, because I use everything. We use everything off of that animal that we can. That's what, it's harvesting.
It's the same as catch. Yep,
Yeah.
it is. It's just that in where I live, harvest isn't the word.
Yeah.
Harvest is what they do for blueberries or something.
Yes. Right. Yeah.
But it's lingo. It's all lingo. And it does mean the same. And I'm never insulted when someone says they harvest something. I just try to tell them that's not how we say it over here. And they wanted it in the way that we say it, the way that we do it, and all that. And then we had them calling up and saying to my wife, "Hey, we're not allowed to call you an Eskimo." My wife's like, "Well, then I quit." Yeah, I'm serious. So they're like, well, hey, Agnes, we understand that it's an insult to your people to be called an Eskimo. She says, "No, I'm an Eskimo. I'm telling you, I'm an Eskimo, and it doesn't insult me." But what it is like Nunavut, Canada became a territory, and when they were recognized, their language is in Inuktitut, and that's what they speak. And so that's those folks, and they're cousins to these folks. But between them, there's also the Inupiat, which is to our north, the Barrow folks. They got their own dialect. And then my wife here is Inupiaq. And they were trying to call her Inuit when she's Inupiaq. And that's like trying to tell the Navajo that they are now have to be Sioux. you know what I mean, or Crow or some other tribal name. And that's not right. And she was telling them that you can't do that to me. She ain't going to allow it. So she was pretty firm on that. And they listened to her after a while. But there's always some weird contention about that. And then we'd have things come along, that were just kind of universal. Everybody loves to see fish getting plucked out of the water, like checking a net or doing it with a rod. And even I find myself watching fishing shows. It's almost like pulling the one-armed bandit deal, and seeing the 777 come up. And so we got lots of compliments on the fishing. We get lots of compliments on our use of our animals and stuff, and lots of compliments on the way that we have to interact with each other, because we live in a tight situation, even though it's a big outdoorsy place. And there comes times you really want to kill the people around you, Yeah, it can be tight. So we're always de-escalating anything that looks like it's going to go crazy on us. And plus, we also know when to walk away.
Right.
Got to know when to walk away. So we didn't exactly walk away from LBZ, but it just didn't end up being renewed, and we weren't really available at the time either. So we'll see how walking away and reviving things. I don't know. I had a long talk with the producer here a while ago, and with that, he was the one that was encouraging me about the YouTube channels and stuff. So I've been investigating doing a YouTube channel where me and Agnes just basically go around and show people what we're up to. And not that we're ditching the kids, but the kids done moved out themselves.
Right.
So it might be just me and Agnes. I don't know. I'll put it all together and see what happens.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So
it sounded like we got pinged by a submarine.
That was my thing off. Sorry about that. My
phone here, it answers with Godzilla's roar, so you might hear that in the background.
We've got a couple questions, so let's ask you some questions from the crowd here. Down East Wave says, do your kids come back to hunt and fish with you now that they're grown and have kids of their own?
I hunted with my oldest son yesterday, and he's putting together a sled load of meat for his kids. So we're going to head back down to Deering after maybe another day or two. Yeah, they certainly do. My youngest daughter, my daughters, they work seasonally. And my daughter, Itty Bitty, my middle daughter, she's a heavy duty mechanic and heavy equipment operator. And she works seasonally, and then she comes back and fishes. My daughter, Kutin, works for the same company that my daughter Itty works for, but she does different work. She does gopher work and then flagging and just anything to fill in. And she's worked for the same company for a couple of years, but it's all seasonal. And then I have a daughter, Mary, who lives up in Ambler, and she comes down here and she doesn't fish, but we trade her. She does the fishing up there. She comes down here and throws us some boxes of whitefish or salmon that she's dried up or smoked. And then we get stuff from the ocean when we're out hunting in the ocean. Or like this last spring, we went to Point Hope to a whaling feast and came home with about 500 pounds of whale meat and blubber. And we could distribute that out to the kids. Yeah, my daughter Ting, her honey's up there on a whaling crew. So he gets a share of bowhead whale every year, like a ton of meat easily. And we're always redistributing them. Our daughter Carol, she's with Skylar. They fish on their own, but they bring us fresh fish and throw them in the freezer. So if we're not home, we're like maybe in camp and we're drying our fish. When I come home, there'll be like 20 frozen whole salmon in the freezer because of Carol. And it just keeps working like that. So yeah, constantly the kids keep cycling in amongst ourselves. Plus two, they come over because they want some nets, a different size net, or they want me to fix a gun of theirs or something. It's snow machine parts, whatever kids can ask their parents for. Yeah, and the true great part is when the kids give the parents money. Then you've succeeded in something. Yeah. My daughter gave me $100 the other day. I still got it. I don't know what to spend it on at the moment. I was telling her I was just going to buy gas, but still, it was sweet. I was like, wow, I did it.
Well, in the village, $100 will get you 2-3 gallons, so.
Yeah. To tell you the truth, I they call it the white price, but that's the price I have to pay. And it's like $7.25 a gallon. But my wife is a member of the Native Corporation, and they purchase the gas and they sell it at wholesale to their shareholders. So I never actually buy gas. I let my kids go buy it because they can get it for a couple bucks cheaper than I can.
Right.
Per gallon. Yeah.
I'm actually in the fuel industry, so I do a lot of work on the fueling in a lot of the remote villages and stuff. So
yeah, bulk fuel sales here is helped out by the corporation. So all that, and the store that we buy it from is a corporation owned store. And because of the high cost of freight and all that stuff, they try to do it at a minimal profit. And
Right.
and no, if they didn't have that corporation backing them up to do these things, they would be paying even more. So I have nothing against the different prices. I understand all that stuff, and I'm lucky to benefit. I live entirely on native land. I hunt on native land and on state lands and stuff. And the corporations here are so generous that, because I have a child with my wife, and she needs to be the kids need to be supported. I can hunt and fish anywhere. I can do whatever it takes to keep my family moving and doing. And then they're the largest employer up here. They own Red Dog, the Nana Corporation, and so they train more people than anybody up here. They've got a medical system that they've set up here that keeps people from dying, because there's no real surgery till you get to like Anchorage, and that's hours away if you're lucky. And then it's just the way that these guys build each other up. I kind of admire that a lot. So I stay out of the way, keep my mouth shut, and just do what I got to do.
Oh,
But yeah, I'm in a really good wide open situation. Yeah. And what can I say? Nana's employed my kids. They've done really good with them. And then Drake's Construction just got bought up by Nana, as a matter of fact. And that's who Eddie and Putin work for quite often. And they got no complaints there either. They're really good employers. So yeah, it's a good situation. It's just I have to pay a couple more bucks extra for gas. I'll tell you this though. Even someone from Anchorage, even though they were native Alaskan, if they came here and purchased gas, because they're not in the same corporation, they would have to pay the extra price too. So it's not really like some sort of it's not the color of my skin or anything like that. It's just simply I'm not a shareholder in their corporation. That's what it boils to. And the same thing goes for jobs. I've lost jobs because I wasn't a member of the corporation. Literally pulled out of a hole when we were building the new hospital in Kotzebue and said, "Hey, are you Native Alaskan?" I told him, "No, I'm not." And my last name fooled him, I said, "Well, you got to go to Montana for that." So, oh well. But see, and I realized too back then that I had to get into like seasonal work, or else I had to find something permanent full time. And I started out in Mark Air full time, working 6 nights a week, and that was great when I was single. But when I got an old lady and there's kids running around, I didn't want to be drawn into that. And the corporation here does really good. They'll employ people for 2 weeks at a time. So they'll go to Red Dog and they'll rotate out 2 weeks on, 2 weeks off. So they come home and hunt and fish. And you got to think of this too. It holds the culture together really well, because this culture wasn't colonized. It was assimilated. These folks weren't defeated in combat. They didn't have their stuff taken away from them. They didn't lose any rights. I mean, they did it the old-fashioned way. They took them to court and sued them. They got titles to their lands. They got compensated, to the living people who were actually getting kind of ripped off. Like my wife's dad, he said, "Hey, this is my property. I've been here for this long," and they're like, "Okay, here's title, here's deed," and all that got separated out when when it went from a territory to a state. So everything went from having federal control to state control. So they came out with a NESCA and a NILCA, and these guys they got to keep hunting sea mammals. They get to be on all these monuments and parks and stuff during sequester, and they can hunt and fish on all the monuments. You can't do that in Glacier Park. I can't go elk hunting there or go bison hunting in Yellowstone. Wouldn't that be wonderful?
That'd be pretty cool though.
Yeah, but these folks here, they kept it together, and they're really happy and proud of it all. And you've got some of the most patriotic Americans in the world around here. It's kind of crazy. I love this place. Yeah. One of the reasons.
Hoodie Girl wants to know, Chip, do you ever see Edna and Jaimo Korth? And if so, how are they?
No, I don't. They live in the interior. I live where the river meets the sea. I'm probably about 400 miles away from those folks. But I have met a few people from my show, not from other ones. And the reason, well, one time we bumped into Sue in the office, and she was just a wonderful lady. She was just making us laugh, and we didn't get to talk to her very long, but she's got a great sense of humor, I'll tell you that. And another time we met Andy and Denise when they were just first back from him getting his leg fixed, and Denise was just coming here. And I think we kind of, bombed their dinner or something like that, but they were having a dinner and we got invited along, but we didn't get to talk to Andy or Denise. They were at one end of a long table and we were at the other end. So that's plus two, I don't want to interfere with anyone like that. And it seems like everybody but me and my family has met Rico at one time or another. So Rico goes to different places, like where my daughter Ting sells arts and crafts. I think Rico does the same thing. And then we just have a lot of common interests and know people in common, but I just haven't bumped into the fella. I'm sure I will someday.
Hoodie
And
Girl,
then-
just so you know, last time I was in Fort Yukon doing work, I did run into Jaimo and Edna in the convenience store, and
Oh.
they were in good spirits as always, and they're really good people. So
Oh yeah, yeah. I've watched the show a couple times, The Last Alaskans.
Yeah.
I don't have a television. I might be on TV, but I don't own one, and I don't really watch it. So I can watch YouTube. I can get about a half hour out of something, and then I got to go do something. I ain't gonna sit there.
yeah,
And then I'll watch a movie with my wife at night, and it's got to be a good one. So that's about it. Yeah, really. I haven't seen all the Life Below Zeros either that we made, but I did 220 of them. What can you say?
wow.
A lot.
Yeah, that was a lot of fun.
Maple Ray
Yeah, more than
asked,
Star Trek.
There you go.
Maple Ray asked, what advice do you have for new Alaskans living self-sufficient lifestyle? Or living
your
self
sweet time. Take your time learning things. Listen. That's all you got to do is if you just listen to people talking, maybe get yourself some good books on the local area so you can like catch out some history and what has happened there before. And then me, myself, oh, I was lucky when I moved here. My younger brother lived in Kotzebue, and he was a sophomore in high school. And he had lived there since he was in 7th or 8th grade. So he'd fought his way through all the kids. He knew all the snow machine trails. He had it all down. And he basically just took me aside and said, if you go down this trail on a full tank of gas, there will be a village at the other end of it. And he pointed out another trail. That was the advice I got. Yeah, listen to the local guy, right? So, and my brother wasn't going to do me wrong. So that's kind of how long. And you guys saw my brother. That's my brother Will. He was on a couple episodes with me.
Yeah.
On 3 of them actually. And then my brother Ian lives in Ohio, and he's not coming out here anytime soon. But I'd sure love to have him here.
Nice.
Replaced TXN wants to know, and this is a great question. This would be pretty neat. I wish that Nat Geo would release the show uncensored and raw on DVD or Blu-ray. That would be pretty interesting to see, uncensored and raw, the shows.
Oh, I got your solution. Buy the European ones. I got a guy over in Germany sent me a whole bunch of them, and they have German subtitles, but it's in English, and there's everything. And I warn you, they do not blur Glenn.
No.
Yeah.
Yeah, European TV is a little different from American TV. They show TNA all over the place. Here,
yeah. We'll just call it the truth, the whole
I've
truth, and nothing but the truth.
There you go. Oh man.
Yes, released to the Greece. That is Chip from Life Below Zero.
Say that again, please.
Oh,
somebody couldn't believe it was you.
Oh yeah, it's me. I'm just an average Joe that shaves his head. Got a big AC/DC tattoo on my arm.
There you go.
Anarchy one right here on my chest, and another one I'm not going to show you. You know what's crazy? Check this out, man. I seen this girl in a shelter cabin, and she's a pretty nice young lady, probably the age of my middle daughter. And she had a tattoo on her face. It's exactly the other tattoo that I've got, which is a moon and a couple of stars. And I was amazed. I was like, we go the same tattoo artist? Very, very strange. Well, I didn't want to be a creep, right? So I'm not like trying to look at her face, but I'm looking at her face. I want to see the tattoo. So I bumped into her again about a year or 2 later in the hospital, and I just had to go up and look. And I felt like a creep again because here I'm staring at her face. But I exchanged the words with her. I told her, man, I've got that exact same tattoo. It's just not an appropriate place to show somebody.
Right.
I mean, the hospital wasn't the appropriate place, but one of those things anyway. So yeah, that was kind of a strange thing with the tattoo deal. And then my wife's tattoos, she got hers in 97. And back when she got hers, I think there was only one woman in this entire region that had them. And it was a lady from Sealing Point that my wife actually knew. And she was talking about how she admired those. And then my wife's grandmother on her dad's side had them too. And they're Kobuk River beauty marks. That's what the women look at them as beauty marks. And, just like a sign that, hey, you're old enough to be a grown woman. And, they'd get them when they were 18, 19, 20 years old. Well, anyway, so Agnes she wanted to get tattoos. So she went and got a traditional tattoo. I thought that was pretty cool. And then after about a year, another lady, Evelyn Carmen, Jack Carmen's wife in Kotzebue, she got a set of tattoos on, but hers are in coastal style. And then maybe 3 or 5 years later, I started seeing a few people doing them on their wrists. And then it boom, holy cow. When we got on TV, I think the wife set a trend again, like rebirthed, or what do you want to call that? Like brought it back, revived. Yeah, blew some breath into it. And
I've seen a number of ladies with the same tattoos, the same beauty mark tattoos now since,
Yeah. Well, here's the crazy thing is that so we went to go see my brother in Juneau a few years ago. We went down there and did our thing, and we're coming back, and my wife runs into a friend of hers from school that grew up in Norvik with her, but lived in Noatak. And she was going to Barrow to an ICC conference, which is a inner circumpolar conference. And I had no interest, but I followed anyway because I'm going to anyway. And Barrow was wonderful, or Ukiyavik, or whatever you want to call it. But we got up there, and they were having some kind of thing about tattoos, like a little class or maybe a meeting. And it was interesting because these ladies were like, "Oh, I got mine 2 years ago. I got mine 5 years ago. I got mine 6 months ago." Blah blah blah. My wife's like, "Oh," and Agnes is just saying there's not saying anything. They asked her, and she's like, "Oh, I got mine 26 years ago." And you saw, I mean, like I heard jaws hit the floor, thunk thunk thunk.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it was cool. You know what I mean? It wasn't like she insulted them. It was like seeing something going on, a bunch of women, other than my daughters who drive me nuts. But just like, wow, that was really cool. So Agnes really shined at that moment. Yeah. And not only that, there were several women from the Kotzebue area that know my wife really well that were like, yep, because they knew, because you can't hide it. We were always talking about if we had to hide it, like let's say we wanted to go somewhere, I'd have to put on like the big glasses with the bushy eyebrows and the big nose, and she'd have to put on a burqa. That'd be the only way to recognize. Yeah.
Oh man.
Maple Ray asked, I don't remember you having a garden on the show. Has that changed at all?
No, we don't garden. We gather. We go out and we gather berries. We gather greens. We gather roots. We gather seeds, and we go to where the wild plants are, and they're doing it. And we don't go to the same places every year. So on purpose, we like in the Kewalik, we have one side of the river we'll work 1 year, and another side of the river work another year. And every 4 or 5 years, we just don't go to the Kewalik. And like this last summer, we just didn't go. I went down there this spring. A bear went and ate my cache. He literally ripped the walls off of it. So we picked up that mess, put our gear away, and there's a guy that lives close there who kind of is in charge of the whole area there, and he's got a gold mine and some other stuff. And I just told him, hey, I'm not going to be around this summer. If you don't mind, let me know if anything further goes on with this cache, because bears will return,
Right.
And I never got the word that he tore the cache apart, though. But we were literally just here. We're making up a load of caribou. We're going to go down to Deering with it for Doug, because that's where all his kids are. And then we're going to go to Candle and the Kewalik from there, and just go check and see if everything's good or what's not good, that kind of stuff. And then we're probably going to just start making an effort to get gasoline over there and stockpile for the spring so we can spend the summer there. Yeah, we missed that place this last summer real bad. Yeah, the summer before, I was down there quite a bit myself. Agnes was gone doing her own damn thing, and I went down there and got a moose myself, and then did some fishing myself. And at the end of August, I came back, and everything that was going on in Norvik, because we usually move back here in August, and we would put the kids in school, and the caribou would start crossing in September. So we'd go up to the river and we'd go do our caribou hunt and stuff. Well, that's all changed. The caribou aren't coming down so quickly anymore. So September was like a real big gap, and I already had my moose. And when Agnes came back around, we started fishing a little bit. We were kind of getting the tail end fish, and we like them fresh from the ocean when they're real juicy and fat. And here on Kobuk River, by the time we get them, we call them painted. They'll have the colored sides to them. So, and they're thinner. So we dry those rather than try to keep them whole. And we dried up a few of those, and boy, did we regret not having a bunch of fish. And then this summer, we just made sure that our freezers had plenty of fish.
There you go.
Wherever we go, we still working on the food situation. Yeah. And of course, we go to the store. We go to the store and we'll go buy things like, salt, flour, coffee, butter. Yeah. Bacon. That's the only pork we eat, bacon. Yeah.
Yeah.
Don't know what that.
Yeah. And we make stuff too, like like the Italians. They have all the dried meats, the capicolas, and I forget how you say the name, but prosciutto, I think it's called,
Yep.
and then
Mhm.
salami. That's all raw dried meat, that's been spiced. Yeah. Maybe they're Eskimos. I don't know. But what the Italians do without spaghetti, food is culture. That's really the way it is. Yeah. And the pursuit of that food, because like we can't buy caribou in the store. I can't buy a goose in the store. Can't buy a salmon in the store. If you want to buy food from the store, even if it's a salmon or a goose, it has to come from somewhere else, or it has to be sent out of here, inspected, then brought back and approved for sale, or something to that effect anyway. And heck, a pop is like $2.50, maybe $3 now. I don't even drink pop. I don't know.
Yeah.
It's just better to go out and get your own food. Eat a lot of meat.
Yeah.
Yep. Down East asked, the seagull egg hunts always were fun to watch. Do you still do them?
Oh yeah, definitely. Man, I got jars of seagull eggs right now. We go through about probably one every couple weeks, and we pickle them, and we put them in. We call it water glassing. So we got
Yep.
these big jars, and we put the hydroxylated lime in there, and
Yep.
just don't let them freeze. If your eggs freeze, that's gonna kill them. God.
Yeah.
But we bring them here to Norvik, and then we keep them here. But what we do is we get geese eggs and we get seagull eggs. First, it's the geese eggs, and in each nest is 6. So we'll get out, and out of maybe 10,000 geese nests down there, we'll probably hit 100, 200. And then we go put those away. And right after the geese lay eggs, the seagulls are laying eggs. So we go out and we go nail the seagulls. But seagulls only put 3 eggs in theirs. And all of these birds lay again. It drives me nuts when people are like, oh my God, you're taking them all. You got to leave one. Well, the deal is this. If you leave 1 or 2,
They
the
won't lay.
goose will relay, right? But those ones are like maybe a week older than the other ones that they just relayed. And when they hatch, they don't feed their babies, they lead them off and they start eating. So the 2 will hatch and they'll just walk away, and the rest will get nothing. So we take all 6 in the clutch. And when they relay all 6, and they all 6 hatch on the same day, and they all walk away together. And some folks just don't understand that. They think we're greedy for taking them all, but that's what we're told to do. And then that's why. And the same thing for the seagulls. The seagulls they'll start feeding the one that hatches first, and the little baby ones that come after that, they don't have a chance when the oldest one can snatch all the food. Yeah.
Do you guys
So
hunt sandhill crane?
I might get 1 or 2 in a year, and I'll get them when they're fresh and they taste like ham. Yeah, they're pretty good actually, and we use that
Ribeye of the sky.
Morton season salt is
Yeah.
really good on those things when you roast them. Oh yeah, but tell you the truth, me and Agnes eat them, but the kids never really liked them much. So
Really?
mostly what we like are speckle bellies, or what they call white front geese.
Mm.
Yeah, those are good. Yeah, those are fat in the
Awesome.
springtime, and then in the fall time when they're getting ready to fly away, and that's when we try to catch Canadians, because the Canadians are exceptionally fat at that time, and we want
Gotcha.
fat meat. That's really what we're after. Yeah,
Right.
so we hunt birds pretty intensively right at the beginning of the season, and then we have fresh birds to munch on, during the summer, and then again in the fall, so that we can put something away for the winter. And another thing too is that if I try to take a spring goose and freeze it, by the time fall comes around, their fat will be rancid, even though they've been in the freezer. Not rancid, but it'll have that taste to it, to where like old goose.
Oh, yeah.
Right.
Yeah, kind of strange, but so we try to keep up on the fresh ones, and we don't take too many. But I got a lot of mouths to feed, and we don't hunt for the village either. We hunt for our family, and every family is related here in some way or another. But everybody's family's got like their hunter, or the ones that they support for hunting. So there might be 2 brothers. One works somewhere and he sends home money, and this other guy that doesn't do anything to earn money, has always got gas and always got bullets. Well, that's because he's checking a trap line, and he's getting firewood to keep the house warm, and he's out getting meat and birds and fish and stuff, and whoever's working off somewhere else is supporting that, and it's the cheapest way to support, and an excellent way to go. So we even get that too. My kids don't support me. I take care of myself, but in my old age I might be drawing on them a little more, calling on them more. I don't know. I'm only 57, so I feel pretty good.
Lots of years to go. Pudding
Yeah.
Girl wants to know, how's your daughter who likes to build with you?
Oh, Carol? She is just fine. She's got a little baby Leanne, and we babysat for him last night. And they took off to Kotzebue to go pick up another snow machine. Skylar he's an iron dog racer. and
Oh, wow.
he races all kinds of races. Yeah, and Carol's a racer too, but she had a baby, so they took a break. And in her very first race, she came in second. She was 15 seconds behind the fastest lady there. So
Oh, wow.
that was all encouraging. But yeah, she's building rigs. She likes mechanics. She likes to do artwork. Yeah, we've got a building out here that we were building. Skylar helped me quite a bit. Carol helped me quite a bit. But we're trying to make Team Mac a house. And I was telling her, well, we should put a shop into it so that we can pay for the house with what we're doing in the shop. So it's progressing slowly and stuff. But Carol's, she's my hammer swinger. She's a good one. On the show, me and her built that little shack, that little thing 8x12 that we use for a shelter there. And I had a fractured elbow at the time, so I couldn't even swing a hammer without screaming. And she really shined on that one. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. Yeah, the show comes up. We had some pretty good crazy injuries on the show, but nothing really exceptional.
I guess that's good.
Yeah, it's just part of happening, you get wet feet, or you fall and hit the floor, or something explodes. I actually had one time I had a cameraman attach a GoPro to my shotgun, and I was using a Browning Auto 5 at the time. You guys probably saw it a couple episodes. I was using the Auto 5, and it added weight to the barrel, which I didn't realize. I knew the barrel was a recoiling long recoil barrel. You can cock them with the barrel, by pushing down, letting them go. And that thing broke the stock on my shoulder. Kaboom.
Oh, wow.
I told him, well, we ain't doing this no more, because the butt stock fell away. Holding the top half of the shotgun. My God.
Good Lord.
Yeah. It's crazy. But I don't know. I just got to do what I got to do. I went over and I bought myself an 870 Remington with a 3.5-inch barrel, so I could eat any kind of shells that I ever come across. And I worked that for quite a while till I broke it. We kind of wear guns out. I used to have quite a collection, but then I got framed for a felony by the troopers that assaulted my daughter, and it took me 5 years to unwind all that. And thank God I can own a gun again.
Yeah, no doubt.
During that time, my wife, I took her to the places where I had taken my sons and showed them to hunt. I took her to the places that she'd never been, out back where like every once in a while I take my daughters with me, but usually it was just me and my sons. We had to support the family. I wasn't there to teach everybody everything. But when they grew up and got out, the girls kind of filled in. And as I had fewer children around, I could take more kids with me. I couldn't haul 7 of them in a sled and then fill the sled with meats. You know what I mean? It's like that. So anyway, Agnes for a few years there got to fill in, but until that happened, she was big on caribou hunting with me, but not doing the shooting. And then at that time, she was taking the shots, and I was still the one working the animals, carrying everything, getting everything ready. The only thing she had to really replace me on was the trigger, but it made for great TV. And since the kids were all grown up anyway, it was excellent time to go hunt with her, when me and her needed some time together, and to go take her places. And I could tell her the stories of what me and Doug and John had been doing back there. And she really got into that. It was a lot of fun. And she was my original cameraman. Before this show, we used to do little videos and stuff. The internet had just come out and stuff. And
I think you're blocking your mic, Chip.
Am I blocking the mic? Sorry about that.
There you go.
Okay. Before the show started, I used to do a lot of writing, and I was really enjoying posting stuff on forums, Alaska outdoor forums, and other ones like that, gun boards and stuff. And Agnes would do my OTFs, my on the flies. So she'd interview me a little bit. We'd do some, like, maybe shoot some wolves or get some bears or wherever we were up to. And we would film each other. And she was always my filming lady. So I always say she was my original cameraman. Yeah, we had it down before they ever came along. But if you guys, if you ever get a chance to just like pull out a camera, that's what a person does. Can make a little memory and stuff. But she was really good at filming, and I was really good at writing about it. So that's what Nat Geo saw in order to like get us to get on the show. They saw what I had been posting for a few years on different forums.
Right.
And it all led to good stuff. Yeah, it's crazy. Yeah. I have a YouTube. If anybody looks at Chip Hailstone YouTube, you would seriously find lots of my old videos of what me and Agnes used to do together, and the kids.
One of our moderators, Ashley, he's been dropping some of your link in there from time to time for us. So We get people.
I'm on the
over
phone, so I can't see it. It's all too tiny for me.
I'm sure you'll see your subscriber count go up after the show. So
That'll be cool. Yeah, if I end up doing our own thing here every couple of weeks, or every week or whatever we end up doing, I'm sure I'll be in on the subscriber numbers. I think I've got 1,000 at least, maybe a couple thousand by now. And then the other parts of it, we're trying to find the advertisers and all that. So I might be picking your guys' brains a little bit more like off the show for how you're doing.
Got my number, Chip.
Yeah. Yeah.
Get a hold of it.
Yeah.
Bassomatic asks, what is the most unusual thing you have found while beachcombing?
that's a good question.
That's a good one. Unusual. I'd probably have to say it would be like a Russian diver's suit. It was like, I know it was Russian, and we get a lot of flotsam and jetsam that comes over from China and Russia because we're north of the Bering Sea. We're on the Chukchi Sea. And we thought it was a dead body when we walked up on it because it was full of sand and it was face down and it was splayed out. And you could see it was a person. Yeah. So we're poking at it with a stick, like who's in this? Like we were ready for some horror movie kind of flip over, and we flipped it over and it was just sand in there. And I give it a kick and just sand. But when you look at it, it was definitely Russian. Yeah. Yeah. That was something. Unfortunately, I have seen people come out of the ocean, but that wasn't unusual. I'll tell you something that was really cool. The last time we were on the show, we were beachcombing, and we love to beachcomb. Everybody up here beachcombs because every storm brings new stuff, and also things get washed out that have been down for a long time. So I probably have had a couple dozen walrus tusks that were just black or green because of what they sat on and get churned up out of the bedrock underneath the sands. And then Wade Kelly he's being a little shit is what he's been. And I took him aside and said, hey, look, we're almost done. We're going to eat. We're walking to the food. I know you're hungry. Calm down. And he started fidgeting again. And I just walked over to him and I was going to walk him off and just go tell him, hey, look, just to have a talk with the kid. He was like 5 at the time. And he pulls out, like out of nowhere, this. It was like a hand, like a chopper, but it was flaked. It was a flaked cutting edge, a large one, and you could see where there was like a groove in the side of it. But the stone it was made out of was like white and black lines in parallel. It was an absolutely beautiful, really. I think it was agate, so it was green and red, and it was like a comb with, like, when you look at a comb, and like one color would be the teeth and the other color was the gaps in between, and it was perfectly shaped. It was perfectly pecked out, and he says, I found that right over there. I was like, oh great, this is the mind changer we need. So so we went back and showed the crew and showed the camera and all that stuff, and Wade was so happy to be able to show everybody. He forgot he was hungry and tired. Long day. Yeah, that was kind of unusual, and I don't know where he pulled that thing out of, but old artifacts and stuff, they just litter the beaches up here. That stuff gets churned up, and plus, a long time ago when people died, they couldn't dig a hole; they just kind of tossed them on the ground and said, "Well, you're meat." So, yeah.
Wow.
Eating something.
Well, we do find skulls. We do find people, like old stuff, really old stuff. But we just leave it alone. Just look at it. Oh, that's nice. Keep going. Sometimes we find artifacts, though, like sitting around on the sandbars, artifacts that are in the river itself. Sometimes, one time we pulled up a net, and my net was stuck, and so we gave it a heave, and we pulled up, and there was a stone lamp underneath it. It was kind of crazy. So we, like for oil from a stone lamp, and it must have been in a house that had eroded into the river and sank to the bottom of the river. So I pulled that out. I thought that was cool. It was really square. I could see it in the water down below after we got the net off of it, and I wanted to clear it because I didn't want the net to snag in the same place again. So yeah, I got in the water and pulled it out in a big square stone lamp. And then another time, and this was on the show, we were driving to go pick onions, and I looked over and I saw white ivory, and Agnes is sitting next to me. I said, "You see that?" And she's like, "What?" I said, "Oh God, we got to stop." So I went over and I pulled over. And she found, I let them walk down the deal, down the bank, because being a native Alaskan, if she finds those things, she can legally keep them and nobody can say nothing. And if I find ivory, I can keep it, but I can only keep it for myself. I can't sell it. I can't transfer it. None of that stuff. Well, this stuff was way before 1971, so anybody could have actually gotten it, like mammoth ivory. But she goes over there and she pulls out 4 tusks. 2 of them were kind of chunks of tusks. 2 of them were whole tusks. A freaking lamp and some other stuff. But she found someone's ivory cache, and we still have one, because the other one, the smaller ones, and the other one, I told them, hey, we got to go rebury these and let them thaw real slow. And they're like, well, here, we want one of them so we can take pictures of it. They took pictures of it. They didn't give it back to me. The next morning, they come over and they didn't want to talk about giving it back to me, and then they did. And the internal stresses from thawing, it was broken in like 9 or 10 pieces. Just shattered. Yeah. So anyway, my wife here, she carves and scrimshaws and does all kinds of stuff. And just recently she was taking those chunks from that piece here not too long ago, and she made Christmas gifts and gave those out. So that was an interesting thing. Yeah. Like how many years later?
Yeah.
But yeah, that was right there on the show. And it was literally, that's exactly how it happened. I just kept my mouth shut. I didn't want to tell any of them. So we didn't want to fake surprise, or I didn't want to fake surprise. And I didn't tell the crew.
Uh-oh.
Uh-oh.
We might have lost Chip.
Chip, come back.
Come to the light.
Come to the light.
Hey, guys, we're really sorry we're not getting all the questions, but we'll try to get some more if Chip makes it back.
I hear you now. Do you hear me?
There we go. Woo! He's back.
Freaking Godzilla. He got me.
Oh, you got to call or text. Yeah.
Yeah. It's probably my son saying that his mom's on her way.
Oh, good.
Steve has a great question. Says, hello from Southwest Pennsylvania. Since you live so remote, is it more important to have things to trade, meat, fish, etc., than money for things you need?
Okay, when I'm in the village, I need money to pay my water and sewer and my electric bill because they don't take fish. But anything else, I can trade snow machine parts, gun parts. I can fix guns. I used to have quite a gun collection, but I disposed of most all of that. But people still come to me and say, hey, can you fix this or can you find this? And then, what else would there be? Meat. If I got fat meat and someone comes over, nobody ever comes over and just asks to have something. They'll usually ask to trade. So the trade's pretty important even in the village. But when I'm out in the country, there's nobody to trade with.
Right.
I'm out there making this stuff to trade. That's when I'm getting skins and things like that. Yeah.
Urban Lady says, how much of your total food supply do you acquire from foraging?
Probably about 60%.
That's a lot more than I expected.
Yeah, it's more than half. But every day I eat caribou. Every day I eat salmon. Every day I eat whitefish. Every day there's something, one of those things. Like last night, it was we had fresh caribou. Well, there's certain meals that you make off of a caribou. You don't want to eat them while they're in rigor mortis and they're really, like eating rubber balls or something. So you make a heart and tongue soup. And then we get the chest, which is the meat on the bones. It's real thin meat layered with fat. And that's delicious. We fry those up. And then next will be the ribs because that's a thin meat. And then we get to the progressively larger cuts of meat. And we eat I eat caribou for breakfast. And then I like a couple eggs. So I got to buy that. And then we buy 100-pound sacks of flour, or not 100 pounds. We buy a couple sacks of 50 pounds of flour, a 50-pound bag of rice. We do the bulk buy stuff. But that's it. But the eggs are seagull eggs or geese eggs. I don't know. There's fish. And then what we do buy, and I mean, whenever we can, fresh fruit and salad makings. We'll go up to the store and like, oh, there's nothing here for us, and walk right back out if the freezers or the refrigerators ain't got nothing like that in them.
Right.
And coffee. We got to buy coffee.
Yeah.
Our problem is a can of coffee is $48. So we don't. Yeah. Yep. And then like if we want like a box of chicken, which is only like half a box, then you're probably talking $25, and there's 4 pieces in it, 5 pieces. So I don't do that often either. But sometimes what'll happen is my daughters, they'll be in Kotzebue or they'll be somewhere. They'll be in Anchorage, and I'll say, go to Costco and get me something to make a pico or pica. or go over there and get me out whatever it is I really want, like some kind of fruit. Bring me persimmons, you know what I mean?
Right.
Something that you can't find here. But what we do before we go to camp is we buy a box of apples, like a big box, you know, with like 75 apples in it. And those are the kind of things that get us through. Maybe some oatmeal, some raisins, you know. Yeah. But for lunch, we home bake our own bread. You know, I buy cheese. I like cheese. What else do I buy? I buy salt and spices. I will say this: we Bubba Gump caribou, moose, bear, and salmon. You know, like when he's on the bus and he's talking about fried shrimp, boiled shrimp, baked
Oh
shrimp.
yeah.
Yeah,
Oh yeah.
that's us.
Shrimp kebab.
Yep. And when we're in camp, we eat fresh meat all the time, fresh birds, fresh everything. And when we're in camp, I would probably say that it's mostly just what they call nickapack or um, nickaknak, whatever you want to call it, whatever comes from the land or from the seas, the ocean. Nicka is the food. So that's I don't know. That's just what we're up to. And that food is clean. There's no GMOs. There's no fertilizers. There's no. It doesn't say it causes cancer when I get it.
Yeah. Amen to that.
God. That's a bullet I luckily dodged at the moment. I don't know. I might have cancer. I just don't know it. But still, it's clean living. And plus, I'm 57. I weigh 175 pounds. I could probably get rid of 15, 20 pounds, but I'm not complaining. Plus, too, what's really funny is like when we're on the show, we're always dressed up because we're usually outdoors, and you really can't see what we look like. You can see our faces sticking out of this big bulky clothing. So I always look like I'm 250 or 300 pounds just because I'm trying to stay warm.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a healthy living though. You know, the more food I can get from a good clean land is the better. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. Replace TXN as, do you still have your black powder guns?
Oh man, you know what? This is the okay. I sent a friend my that black powder rifle I shot the muskox with. I sent him that because I'm not using it, but I do have the shotgun, and I what else do I have? I have the shotgun, and I got this flintlock over here with a broken flint or with a broken frizzen on it, so I got to fix that one. But those are the only two I've got now, and then the other one I'm gonna restock, and I'm just gonna try to fix it up again and just try to do that all over again. I don't know. It's somebody who would appreciate it. Let's put it that way. He's a friend of mine, and I thought it'd be really cool over his fireplace or something because I wasn't using it. But the shotgun, this is truth. I was a felon for 5 years till I got that flipped, and I used the black powder ones because I was off probation. I'd already done the jail time, all that stuff, and I was still wanting to shoot things. So it's actually pretty easy to use a black powder. The thing is, with the cold weather, you have to use real black powder. If you try to go cold weather and set Pyrodex off, it is a pain. Yep, click, 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 or snap, 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 whatever you want to call it. So getting real black powder is very difficult nowadays. And I actually told the Hollywood guys, if you get me 1 pound of 4F black powder, this will always work. And they must have spent $500 getting me a pound of black powder and shipping it here. That's crazy. Yeah. But it works.
Tip for you in the future, if you need any, Great North Ammo and Anchorage sells black powder. That's real. I'm a black powder guy. I have a lot of black powder weapons because that's what I grew up playing with. And I've actually got a flintlock that I'm putting together now. And that's where I had to get my black powder because everything else is synthetic, and flintlocks do not like synthetics.
No, they don't. And the one I made here is a fusee. It's a little short French flintlock, and yeah, it's a sweet little thing. And then this boy that was visiting with my grandson Wade, he was looking at it, and then he tried to hand it to Wade, and Wade was like, "Just set it down," and he dropped it and snapped. There went the top of my cock. Yeah, we're across the room with the flint in it. It's like, oh my God. But that's all right. It was an accident. I'll just make another one. That's one thing I really do enjoy, though, are firearms. I used to have quite a collection, and then I gave them all to my daughter when I was felonized for a few years there, and I just didn't ask for them back. I just didn't have need for them anymore. And my daughter Ting is way into guns. She's got like Lugers. She likes pistols. She's got broom handle Mausers. She's got all
Oh.
kinds of stuff. Yeah, she's nuts on that. She loves to shoot. They'll sit there and burn up every bullet possible target shooting when we're in camp. Yeah, those girls, especially Kutin. Kutin, the youngest one, she's really into that high-powered center fire, long range. Go set up a gong, something maybe 4 feet by 4 feet at 500 yards. She'll nail it every time.
Nice.
Yeah,
No,
yeah.
yeah.
It's a sport. They're good at it.
Painting the farms as, are there limitations when you live that life and also show it on television?
Only television puts the limitations. When we go out and we get 600 seagull eggs, they'll say, we can't show that much. People will freak out. I tell them, I don't care what you show.
Yeah.
Yeah. When we go, well, they didn't like us shooting caribou in the head. And I'm like, look, they cross the rivers. They come out of the willows, the dense willows from those trees. They cross the river, they go into dense willows. I said, we get to go out there, make sure they're not in rut, pick out exactly what we want. We shoot them with a 22 in the head. It doesn't leave the skull. It piths them. We don't eat the brains, but we eat everything else. So to tell you the truth, I'm making no wastage whatsoever. If I had to chase those animals across the land and shoot them in the chest, there's a good chance I'm taking out a front shoulder. There's a good chance of wounding them, all that stuff.
Yeah.
That doesn't happen in the river. None of them get away. We don't get ones that we don't want. I don't walk over and go, oh man, this one's got sores, or oh look, it's got brucellosis, you know what I mean, or the other diseases that could be in a caribou. And we get to clean them right by the side of the river. It's clean meat. It's fall time. The edges are freezing. When we go hang them up, they're frozen. They're outside. They're in their skin. There's no sand on them. It's the perfect hunt. And when my wife's dad was a kid, his dad and mom, all right, this is really whack. Okay, my wife's dad was born in 1903. My wife was born in 1970. So he was 57 years old or 67 years old when he had her, and 3 years later he had Ella, their youngest. He was married to a woman and had 5 children with her. She died in childbirth with the 5th one. Then he married my wife's mom and had 10 children with her. And he was considerably older than she was. But he was born in 1903. So he was born when this was a territory. Then there's a book where they interviewed all these old people. And Lucy Foster in this book talks about how her and her best friend Belle, when they lived up at a place called Color Rock, they used to pack little Joe Carter on their back and go out shooting rabbits and stuff. And then Norvik was formed in 1914. And in 1914, Joe was about 11 years old, and he came here and they celebrated his first Christmas. He'd never even known about Christmas before that. And then these people have all this stuff written down in these books. So then there's a book about a place called the Swiftwater Place, which was a village, a powerful village that had a lot of people in it in the middle of the Kobuk River. And my wife's mother was from that village. And she had Joe in 1903, and her estimated age was her early 40s. So in 1903, if she was like 40 in 1903, then she would have had to have been born in 1863. Wow. And then there was a guy named Giddings who came through here, and he was an archaeologist, and he was doing decronometry, where they go and they get the tree lines, from the center to the out and be able to date things. And the radioactive or the radiocarbon dating that they were doing back in the 40s wasn't so great. And he was doing the decronometry, came down the Kobuk River, and he was interviewing people that had grown to old age. And when he was in Kayana, he found my wife's grandmother's younger brother, Uliak, and his English name was Stonewall Jackson. He had a younger brother named Andrew Jackson. And then my wife's mother in 1910 took the name Carter. Her and her husband were Mary and Paul Carter. Yet they still went by their Eskimo names, just that in the Eskimo terminology of things, the more names you can add to something, the more powerful you are. So they would have all these names, and the spirit would follow the name. So if they like someone, they would name them after someone who they considered kind of powerful. So anyway, point of it all is that he interviewed Stonewall Jackson and asked him, what was it like to grow up to be a grown man before you ever saw a non-native person? And he told him a cycle in life, what it was like. And if you ever get the book, it's called Kobuk River People. It's by Louis Giddings, and it has an interview in there. And Uliak is my wife's great uncle, or her dad's uncle. And he killed Indians. He fought up here. I mean, like they literally, before there was any law, those guys had to make a living anyway. So it's just an interesting how far stretched back that goes, all the way to the 1860s. And that was while it was a Russian territory. So my wife was born in the state of Alaska. Her dad was born in the territory of Alaska, and her grandmother was born in Russian Alaska.
Wow.
Yeah, isn't that a stretch?
That's crazy. Christian
Yeah.
asked, did you stop making ulus? I noticed you haven't posted about them lately on your X.
Okay, we've had the lady, my next door neighbor that worked at the post office, no longer works there. This has been since Christmas. And then the second whammy that we got was that we had the native store up here assisting us by accepting payments and then transferring them on to us because we were selling ulus through them. But they weren't sending out the ulus. We were just sending them from here. And they've stopped that program since the beginning of the year. So I don't have a way of accepting payment, and I don't have a way of sending them out of here until we get a new postmaster. I literally haven't sent anything out of this place since Christmas.
Wow.
And to tell you the truth, a lot of our Christmas stuff has just started trickling in. Yeah.
Wow.
And then I guess Alaska Airlines embargoed us for a while because they were so backed up on all their stuff that they shipped nothing to Northwest Alaska. I think we're still embargoed by them, but right now they're funneling it all through.
You got another text or call.
You got another text message.
Yeah, we're a little over on time, guys, but that's okay if you don't mind. John S. We started at 4 o'clock, so we're just over an hour on. Nope, not 7 p.m. Alaskan time because we're only at 5:11. Oh, we might have lost Chip.
Yeah.
We'll give it a minute or two, see if he comes back. But I hope you guys are enjoying that. He's got some knowledge to him, and I spent not a couple hours, but a good amount of time with him on the phone and chatting on StreamYard the other day, and he's an amazing guy. Let me get down to the bottom here, see what we're going on for chats. If you have any questions for us, go ahead and ask them.
Oh, Zorro, you guys didn't get freezing weather. Come on, man. It may have been a little chilly. A little chilly.
Alaska Airlines took out his Starlink. Right, Scott?
Right?
Right, Mike? Has he ever seen Sasquatch? I don't think he lives out on the that area. I think he's more in the woods. That'd be a Yeti. There, Chip's back. Let me get him back up on the screen here.
Set the whole thing. When that thing rings off, I'm cut off. Anyway, the whole thing is that accepting payment and being able to send out anything isn't happening in Norfolk, Alaska right now.
Right.
Yeah, I've probably got 200 of them just sitting there. It's a little frustrating.
Yeah, that would be.
Well, I'm not going to waste my time. I'll build some inventory while I'm in this hiatus of sales. But such is life. And actually, to tell you the truth, we just keep working on things. A friend of mine, he's pretty smart. He's got a metal shop down in Kotzebue. We're building a machine that's going to spin these babies like a pizza and sharpen the edges. We're working on making a machine for handles to make it easier. And I'm going to go over to more automated rather than handmade. Right now, all the ones you guys are getting have all just been handmade. The ones that go after that are going to have a brand on them, Hailstone, and those will probably be more machine made rather than handmade because all the handle, it'll all be made by us, but it'll just be made with more machinery rather than me holding on to the thing with my fingertips, sanding and cutting and drilling.
Yeah. Gets harder as you get older, you know?
Yeah. Well, you know what I'd like to do? I'd like to get into the marketing part. So if I can mass produce ulus and make 100 a day, I'm pretty sure I could sell them. I'm pretty sure I can sell because I've had some large companies inquire to me about buying bulk. So I've been telling them, well, I will get a hold of you when I can do that. Because about a year ago, I thought I could do that. But then, you know, winter comes along and the heater that I have out in that shop can't keep up with it. And the shop's not quite finished. And there's just so much more to do. And then so little help on this end. I mostly do it myself or me and Carol. Sometimes I'll hire a couple people, but no one works for free. I'll tell you that.
No, that's for sure.
Yeah.
Mike McKinley over in Canada wants to know if you've ever seen Sasquatch.
No, I haven't seen Sasquatch. I haven't seen little people. I don't see aliens. I'm out there a lot, and no bones, no nothing like that. No, nope. I woke up one time with a bear outside my tent. That was interesting. But it
That'll
walked
wake
by and my
you
wife shot it in the back of the head. Yeah, that was that.
up.
No, we've been woken up a couple times to some good sized brown bears walking around the yard.
Yeah,
And
this is a polar bear. We weren't expecting it at all because we were kind of up on a hillside, and we thought maybe it'd have a cub with it or something. There was no cub. I just told her shoot it.
We thought we saw Sasquatch here and then realized it was our next door neighbor, but
Oh,
you know, so
yeah. My next door neighbor's not quite a Sasquatch, but I wish he was still working at the post office.
I was
No, our
trying to see if
post
there's any
will
other questions.
get back to itself, and I'll be able to send things out. And then the other thing is that I've been banking out of Anchorage with Global, and trying to deposit something to them is about near impossible. So I just kind of gave up on that. And Kotzebue has a couple banks, so we're going to go down there and go make a business account and get hooked up with a credit card deal, and be able probably like a simple storefront like a Shopify or something like that. That's what we're looking at. My problem is I don't have enough hours in the day, and I sleep a solid 8. I don't do 9. I don't do 7. I just do 8 hours a day, and I'm back up again. But there just isn't enough time between hunting, fishing, working on my house, and then working on the Ulus and all that, and then having to package it, market it, blah 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 blah. So that's why I was saying my friend will probably take over manufacture pretty soon here if we get more machinery into it, and then I'm going to go into maybe go do meet and greets. You know, I want people to realize the value of the fish knife that an ulu really is. It's great for cutting meat, it's great for everything, but people don't hunt all over. But what they do is they fish. So I think that'll be kind of an edge in there too. And then of course, if we're doing our own show on YouTube, doing our own YouTube, then we'd be able to advertise on that too.
Yep.
But we'll see how that comes along. It takes a lot of work, and it's kind of hard to get people to commit to what I'm up to. I think they want to see money first, but I keep telling them, well, if you don't help me out, then it's going to be twice as long to get to that money.
yeah.
Right.
Yeah. So I don't know. I'm not complaining. I'm the kind of guy that makes a goal, and I don't know how long it's going to take or what trail I'm going to get, but I'll get there.
There you go.
That's a good thing. And, you know, the Ulus are so versatile. People don't realize that. I had one custom made by friends of ours here in town that are blacksmiths, and he asked how I wanted it, and I said I want a single grind. And people don't understand why I want a single grind, because I can use it for fleshing now. You know, when I'm skinning an animal, if I have that flat side against the skin, I'm not going to poke the skin. Or if I do it the other way, if it's an animal I don't want skin on, I'm not going to cut into the meat.
Yep.
You know, and if it's made good and if it's good quality, it'll stay sharp a long time. I've skinned out a black bear with mine. It was probably about 300 pounds, and I never had to sharpen it. I had to go to a different knife when I got to the paws and the head, but that's a lot of work. And black bears they're dirty. I mean, people don't realize it. They're full of sand and stuff. It'll dull a blade quick.
Yeah. Well, yeah, especially with that edge, like the way that it is, you know, being a single edge there. It's my wife, she's critiques all my stuff. But one of the critiques I had was when I sent off an Ulu, a guy wrote back to me and said, "Hey, this is a very rough handle, and I don't know. He thought I should smooth it up and lacquer it and make it smooth." And I told him, "Well, as a fish knife, they get slimy, so I'm not going to do it." I got hickory specifically because it's very grippable, even when it's covered in blood, and you want that when you're using a knife. And so he wanted it smoothed out. I smoothed it out for him, but I'm not going to do that. It's when people get that, they're going to feel the grain on it, and I want them to, because I don't want them to slip. That's how that is. And it would take a while to get
your hands get dirty processing animals and fish. What?
Cold. It's the cold that makes you lose your grip more than anything too. It's crazy.
Yeah.
But you know, we make them out of a 050 thin spring steel, so it's just like the handsaws, those Stanley handsaws. That's what I made them out of before, and that's what people love. They want that flex to get between the knuckles and the different joints. And once you get an Ulu in your hands and you use it proper, boy, there's really no going back.
Yep, I agree on that.
I've got a bunch of like stone ones, jade ones, all kinds of different ones. My wife has a small video that they did with her post LBZ, and she was showing off Ulus and stuff. So one of those things, that would be another sort of advertisement. When I sell an Ulu, I often try to hook people up with that link so that they can see how to sharpen it properly, things like that. Yeah.
Nice.
Well, once you get stuff rolling again, I'll definitely be ordering. So
Yeah, definitely.
Well, if you want to take the long time to wait for them to come along in the mail, that's a good way to go. You're in Alaska, I don't think you'd have to wait that long. It's getting it past Anchorage. For some reason, things seem to just like go into a holding pattern, orbit the place. I don't know. But I've had a lot of stuff go to Anchorage recently in the last 6 months, and it stays there for 2 weeks, 3 weeks. And I've got these people at tracking number calling me up saying, what's going on? Call them up. Can't you do something? I'm like, you talk to the post office and see what responses you get.
Yeah.
I'd rather call the police.
Yeah.
Replace one if you have a logo for your products.
I do. It's a Hailstone. Yep, Hailstone. It's got a skull on it. You know the sign that Itty Bitty made that sits outside our door? It says Hailstone. Got a little skull by the side of it. Skull and crossbones. Yeah. That's it.
That's cool.
Nice.
Yep. And then a friend of mine, the same friend I was trying to send the black powder rifle to, he got me cups made and some other stuff, and that really like got my thinking going. And so I'm going to brand it. I'm going to copyright it. I'm going to have all those things down. And then when we make the Ulu blades, it'll be etched in the Ulu blade with a laser, so that they're all branded too. Yeah. Yeah, it's really nice when you get somebody who's honest and can critique you and tell you what's really screwed up and what's really good, not just tell you everything's good.
Right.
You know?
Right.
And then this fellow I'm referring to, he's been on X quite a bit, and he's always just been straight up with it. I get a lot of people on there that are really either big fans or big haters, and just to find somebody on social media that just talks to you like you're a normal person can be kind of rare once you've been on TV anyway. Yeah.
Right.
Well,
yeah.
Well, if nobody has any more questions, we're going to end this here because I'm still going to go cook dinner for Sarah. And
there you go. Man, I'm glad you guys had me on. It's been an interesting talk.
Yeah, it has, Chip. So, but when we're done, don't run away. Just stay down below. We'll talk to you in the basement for a few minutes.
Right on.
John Hogan, who's my brother, says stay true to yourself, and definitely.
Yes.
Definitely.
Thank you.
So, all right, guys. So we're going to head out. Sarah and I announce our next live here soon, and you'll find out soon who our next guest is going to be. Rodney, if you want to close it.
Yep. Jackie and I will also be scheduling a dual live as well. So, hey, guys, appreciate it as always. Like I always say, you guys take the time out to spend hanging with us, and it means the world to us. 100 other things you could do, but the fact that you're hanging out with us means the world to us, and I hope you guys know that. We love each and every one of you guys. You guys are our family. Thanks so much for the support and everything you guys do. And remember, tell somebody you love them today. It could mean the world to them. So you guys have a great evening, man, and we are looking forward to this next special guest. So you guys make sure you stay tuned. Check out the community post, and we'll announce it as soon as we can.
Yeah, you guys have a great day. Thank you to all the moderators. Thank you, Chip, for showing up tonight.
Thank you.
Thank you, brother. All right, guys. We'll see you in the next one.
Ciao.